Question number 1. Why did you choose the poem you read today? Probably one of my favorite poems in the whole entire world, because this poem is all about vulnerability, right? It's asking us to show up for each other and for ourselves in times when we are in strong emotions like pain or grief, right? Are we willing to expose ourselves, to share ourselves and be true? I love that line that really spoke to me today was about, are you willing to betray another, right? In order to not betray yourself. And I feel like that really speaks to, I find, the human condition, because we can go through life without being vulnerable. And because of that, we don't have as much intimacy with the people around us. And I find, especially in the tantric view, right, intimacy is the key to connecting to the divinity and connecting to others and remembering that connection with others. Yeah. What other elements do you encourage yoga teachers to bring into classes to create Bhav? So poetry, music, right? Lighting if you're in a class, and specifically also the sound of your voice, the tone of your voice. If you notice, I play with the tone of my voice in class quite a bit, depending upon what I want you guys to feel or experience. So sometimes I'm like super loud and encouraging and woo, more like this, right? When we're in a fiery practice. Today was more of a watery practice, so my voice was quite a bit softer, right? To kind of create that energy, to create that Bhav. What was the theme of today's class in terms of the body? What did you want to open and strengthen? So the theme of today's class was back body opening, and specifically hamstrings. So what hopefully you noticed is we did a lot of forward folds in different planes, and we were working, our peak pose today was that roller skating pose coming down into heron pose, which is the twist, into seated one hand to foot pose. Yeah, it was a little sequence. Why did we hold plank pose for 8 breaths? To build heat, right? I always find that, and also specifically to engage core and quadriceps to help us when we're coming from standing and coming down into that little squat. You need your core, you need your quads of your standing leg and your hamstring of your standing leg to support you as you come down. Yeah. Why did we use blocks? Why did we use the blocks in the seated wide-legged forward fold? So the other part of my theme today was long spine as we came into forward fold. So I find that those blocks create that long spine. So that's why we had one block underneath the ribs, underneath the forehead, is to keep us a long spine as we come down. Just going with the theme. Okay. Why supported bridge pose? Why did we use blocks? So we did quite a bit of hip flexion today, right? So we did a lot of forward folding. And so I wanted to end the class with supported bridge pose to open up your hip flexors and to open up the front of the pelvis, because they worked very hard through the whole practice. And we held that for quite a while in order to release it in a way that is passive instead of active. What is the sequence? Was the sequence an example of wave theory? How so? Yes, this was an example of wave theory, except I moved the pieces around. And so if you join us for Art of Sequencing, I'll talk about what that means. But generally, there's 3 blocks inside of each wave. There's a lunge, a core, and a warrior sequence. I just moved them around a little bit. So it wasn't classic wave theory. It was a little bit different. Yeah. In a 60-minute class, how long do you allot for each section of the class? So the sections of the class would be the warm-up, the solar part of class, right, leading to the peak pose, then the lunar part of class, and then the closing, which is the meditation and such. Today I did it a little bit differently. So with what I love about slow flow is because we're not really building too much heat, I actually don't do very much, I don't allot as much time in the floor sequence, because we haven't gone we haven't peaked up too high. So generally in a regular 60-minute class, right, it's about 5 to 8 minutes for the first part of class, the warm-up, and then about 25 to 35 minutes for the solar, and then 20 minutes for the lunar, and about 8 to 10 minutes for the Shavasana and meditation at the end. Will I learn how to sequence theme like like this in your YTT, what are we going to do to help me learn? What are we going to do to help me learn? So yes, you will learn about, it's all about the whole sequencing. The art of sequencing is about, the first 2 days are going to be working towards a peak pose, and then the second 2 days are working with a theme to weave into the class. So you'll definitely learn all about that. Okay. Do you think I should bend my elbows slightly in down dog if I have hyperextended elbows? I would have to look at it. A great way to know whether or not you're hyperextending in a joint is when you're weight bearing on it, and all you do is you feel it in your joint and you don't feel it in the muscles above or below. Okay. So specifically in down dog, if you're I'm a great hyperextender in both elbows and knees. So if you're hyperextender, see how I'm kind of past straight. Right now, I can feel the stretch right here in the eye of my elbow, and I definitely don't feel anything in my arm. So that would be that would be a way to check out whether or not you're hyperextending your elbows. You could also take a picture, or you can, if you are fortunate to be near a yoga teacher, go get them to take a look at it. Yeah.